In the heart of Africa, a country once known for its large landscape and vibrant culture would soon become synonymous with terror and brutality. Uganda, a nation that gained independence from British colonial rule in 1962, was on the path to progress under the leadership of Prime Minister Milton Obote. However, on January 25, 1971, a military coup led by Idi Amin, a charismatic and a cunning army officer, would change the course of history of Uganda. Now, here is a history of Idi Amin Dada, or the Butcher of Uganda. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell and like this video. Welcome. Idi Amin was born around 1925 in Koboko, a town in the West Nile region of Uganda, to a Kakwa father and a Rubara mother. Amin's early life was marked by instability, which father abandoning the family when Amin was young. Despite the challenges, Amin attended Koboko Primary School and later went to Bombo Islamic School. In 1946, Amin joined the King's African Rifles KAR, a British colonial regiment that recruited soldiers from across East Africa, including Kenya, Uganda, and Tanganyika, now Tanzania. During this time in the KAR, Amin served in various parts of East Africa, including Kenya, where he was stationed during the Mau Mau Rebellion in the 1950s. After Uganda gained independence in 1962, Amin returned to his home country and joined the Uganda Rifles, which later became the part of Uganda Army. Amin quickly rose to the ranks, becoming a sergeant major by 1961 and later a lieutenant in 1962. His military prowess and charisma caught the attention of Prime Minister Milton Obote, who promoted Amin to major in 1963 and later to colonel in 1964. Amin's relationship with Obote was complex, while Obote saw Amin as a valuable military asset. Amin's loyalty was increasingly tested as Obote's government faced internal divisions. Amin's ascent continued, and he was appointed commander of the Uganda Army in 1969, a position that would ultimately enable him to seize power in 1971. How did Amin come to power? Of course, it was a coup. But how did he plan for the coup? And now, the coup that brought Amin to power began on January 24, 1971, when Amin's loyal troops started moving towards Kampala, the capital city of Uganda. Amin had been gathering support among the military, capitalizing on discontent with Obote's government. As Obote was out of the country attending a Commonwealth conference, Amin saw an opportunity to strike. On the night of 24, Amin's forces seized in key installations and government buildings in Kampala, including a radio station and a major military barracks. By the early hours of January 25, Amin had declared himself the president of Radio Uganda, announcing the overthrow of Obote's government. The coup was largely bloodless, and Amin's forces quickly took control of the country. In the first days of Idi Amin's rule, many Ugandans initially welcomed him as a liberator, seeing him as a strong leader who could bring stability and order to the country. Amin's charisma and charm won over some segment of the population, and his early speeches emphasized unity, patriotism, and African pride. At the time, Amin's regime was viewed by some as a welcome change from the previous government, and then he was seen as a hero who could potentially bring out positive change. However, beneath the surface, Amin's authoritarian tendencies and brutality were already beginning to emerge, setting the stage for the terror and repression that would soon follow. As Amin consolidated power, his regime's true nature became increasingly apparent, and almost unnoticed, Idi Amin changed to a total monster. Idi Amin's regime was marked by extreme brutality and violence, setting him apart as one of the most notorious dictators in history. His rule was characterized by widespread human rights abuses, including extrajudicial killings, torture, and forced disappearances. Amin's security forces, particularly the State Research Bureau, were notorious for their brutality, and their actions instilled fear throughout the Ugandan society. The regime's persecution of ethnic minorities, especially the Akoli and Langi tribes, was a hallmark of Amin's rule, with thousands of people killed or displaced. Amin's method of murder were particularly sadistic, earning him the nickname the Butcher of Uganda. He reportedly kept human heads in his refrigerator and boasted about eating human flesh, claiming it was too salty for him to taste. His victims were subjected to inhuman treatment, including being beaten with sledgehammers, electrocuted, or tossed into the Nile River to be devoured by the crocodiles. Amin's underground prisons, such as the one of the Mengo Palace, were notorious for their brutal conditions, where prisoners were tortured, killed, or left to suffocate. One of the most gruesome aspects of Amin's atrocities was the practice of dumping bodies into Lake Victoria. Many victims were thrown in. The scale of Amin's atrocities is staggering, with estimates suggesting that between 100,000 and 500,000 people were killed during his regime. His victims included politicians, intellectuals, artists, and ordinary civilians. Notable figures like Archbishop Jamani Luwum, former Prime Minister Benedicto Kiwanuka, and Prelate Brian Kawadwa were among those brutally murdered. Apart from killings in 1972, Idi Amin's regime launched a brutal campaign against Uganda Asian community, expelling approximately 80,000 people, mostly of Indian and Pakistani descent. These individuals had lived in Uganda for generations. Many of them expelled Asians were skilled professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners, contributing significantly to the country's economy. Amin accused them of exploiting the native African population and ordered them to leave the country within the 90 days. The expansion led to the confiscation of their properties, businesses, and assets, which were then distributed to Amin's people. This move was part of Amin's strategy to Africanize the economy, but it ultimately devastated Uganda's industries and infrastructure. The country's economy would never recover in decades. Initially, Amin's regime received support from Western powers, including the United Kingdom and the United States, that is the USA, due to his anti-communist stance. However, as the full extent of Amin's brutality became clear, international opinion turned against him. The United Nations and other international bodies condemned Amin's regime for its human rights abuses, and economic sanctions were imposed. In response, Amin sought alliances with other countries, including Libya and the Soviet Union, that is Russia now, but this relationship ultimately failed to provide support he needed. Now, this is how the downfall of Idi Amin came and how he was overthrown. Listen. In 1978, tensions between Uganda and Tanzania culminated in an invasion of Tanzanian territory by Amin forces. Tanzanian President Julius Nyerere, unwilling to tolerate Amin's aggression, launched a counter-attack that would ultimately lead to Amin's downfall. With the support of Ugandan exiles, Tanzania forces led by Lieutenant General David Msugire began a military campaign against Amin regime. The Tanzanian army, bolstered by Ugandan rebels, captured key towns cities, gradually closing in on Kampala. As Tanzanian forces approached Kampala in April 1979, Amin's grip on power began to slip. On April 11, 1979, Tanzanian forces and Ugandan rebels captured the capital, and Amin was forced to flee. He abandoned his luxurious command post in Kampala and fled